Greetings, dear beautiful spirit soul that you are. You notice the lake has ice. I got layers and layers on, cozy and warm. Take a nice deep breath. Center yourself. And here's my topic. Who has molded you into who and what you believe you are? Who has molded you, you see? And it's interesting, the word mold. Mold is also, bad, because it's that, I remember years ago I had this little apartment for a while, and black stuff was coming through the wall because it was this mold. And so mold is actually a killer. And then we think about who has molded us, or how we have agreed to be what other people want us to be, so that we fit in, so that we're normal, so that we're successful and not a failure, you see. And it's that pressure from the outside to always conform to the mold. Molds are preconceived ideas and notions about, and then it's like a box. It's like you can't think outside of a box, because thinking is the box. It's always a limitation, and thinking limits us, because we are far beyond thinking. Thinking is not our actual nature, because we don't need to, given that we are all-knowing. We are wisdom itself. And then, to be short-circuited, you might say, in our expression, there's a very deliberate, you might say, and maybe not deliberate sometimes, program to get us to fit into a certain group, or to fit into a certain slot, or to fit into a certain wanted and needed, what would you say, person, who is going to behave the way we want them to behave, think the way we want them to think, dress the way we want them to dress, live the way we want them to live. And if we take a look at what's always behind all of this kind of a thing, is survival. I'm going to have to survive. Well, you are beyond survival. Survival is actually about the physical body. And if we will notice that the mold that we have been poured into, you might say, through consciousness, through thoughts, through force, through rewards, through blame, through chastisement, through appreciation, all of these things, so that we then fit what other people want us to be like, so that we fit that caricature, that false ego. So how you transcend the mold, basically, is to realize it's dangerous. It's death-like. It's death-like to the self, to the real self, to who you really are. And you want to look at, who have you molded yourself after? What characters have you taken on? For instance, say, when you were a child, the mother got all the attention, and you wanted the attention. So you might become more like your mother, so you could get more of the attention. You see, it's all about attention. It's about focus. It's about being good enough. It's the basic thing, and the basic program against us is you're not good enough. And in fact, the word adults are stupid people. When you call someone an adult is a stupid person. See, now people don't know what they're saying. Most people have no idea that they're a creator. Most people have no idea of the power that they have. Are always taught to give the power out to somebody else. Give the power out to the leader. It isn't interesting, the word leader, because a leader is a long plastic line cord that goes into the water with a hook on the end to catch a fish, you see. And you have to amass a lot of fish for your school, you see, because then that school is how we've also been molded into a specific caricature that is expected to be normal. You're normal. Well, if everyone is a zombie, then that's not going to be considered normal. So if you're not a zombie, you're not normal. If everybody's texting on their little phones and all the little things, and you're not normal because everybody else is. So you take a look at even in the schooling, they grade you on the curve, competing with the other people who are in the school, the class, to then be molded into a good citizen, a normal person, a person who is generating and fueling a false reality. You see, because you're the creator person. And when you really get who you are, and that's the most important thing, is you start to look at what have you molded yourself after. And see, a lot of people don't do that because they're really only interested in surviving. They're only interested in their comfort. They're only interested in no challenges, no surprises, because that's fear. And interesting, if I years ago I studied numerology and all that kind of things, but I don't use that because it's not my system. I don't need it. We're divine beings. That's the material world, math. The construct is like that. And when we try to be number one, or you find you're not number two, or you're a failure because you didn't make it, and in the schooling and in the class, always trying to be normal so that the other kids like you. If everybody wears their pants down to their knees, you have to do that if you want to be cool and slick and you want to belong, because if you don't have that, or you don't have a tattoo, or you aren't texting, or you're not watching television, or you don't go to movies, or you don't, go along to get along, it's like lemmings. Most people, they're just like lemmings, and lemmings are these rat-like little creatures that every so often just follow the leader and jump off the cliff and leave their bodies. Except for a couple, obviously there must be two left behind, a male and a female, because they start making more lemmings. But this following others and looking at how you've been taught as to how to behave, how to be a good person, how to be loved, how to be successful, how to avoid failure, how to make it in the world. They say, well, when I make it, then I'll be... And you see all the suffering that goes with it because we're in conflict with our own true divine nature. So just take a look at this. Who has molded you? That means, what have you been agreeing to? All of that to make sure that you fit the norm instead of being fully and magnificently unbounded and free as you are, who you really are. Wow, how about that? All you have to do is drop the mold, you see, the program, the pattern, but you have to notice it first. And you have to take a look at, not to be against it or for it, but to be beyond plus and minus, success and failure, normal, abnormal, weird and strange. These are just names and name calling to keep you in line, following the leader with a hook in your mouth, to make sure that you fit exactly that round peg when you're a square. You could say that. You don't need to fit anything. You're already whole, complete, and perfect with nothing missing at the level of who you are. Own your power, be who you are, and then the walls of the box are no longer there, nor the mold, because that's not determining the quality of your eternal existence.